that Jamie needed a little time, I needed a little time. But Jamie mentioned that one of Lauren's wishes was that she wanted to get the word out about childhood cancers and Ewing sarcoma. So, given that I was the advisor to Lacrosse, I said, let me go talk to my Lacrosse guys. I think they would be like totally psyched to help Lauren in getting her voice and starting her voice out at one of our lacrosse games. And thus this event was born. And she spoke at the first event right here, eloquently, bravely, and she talked about her fight with cancer, and she was just an amazing individual. And we're really lucky today to have Lauren's dad, John, brother Mark, here. Her mother, Deanne, usually is here. She couldn't make it this year, but I'm sure she'll be back next year. Because she was really sad that she couldn't make it this year. One of the things that you can, if you want to learn more about her, to the DBC fan group, I sent out the link to on YouTube to the documentary that was done by the public broadcasting channel in Sacramento. And it's called The Not Dying Girl, which chronicles her story and her fight, and you'll see what an inspiration she was to those that she touched, especially during her final days when she was really fighting to get the word out about the childhood cancer. So we are very, very excited to be able to continue this event on a yearly basis. For you St. Mary's fans, this is the only game that we charge for, but all the money goes directly to ACS and is collected directly by the American Cancer Society. Another one of the things on that first day that she was here, she had always dreamed to be an honorary team captain, and so she became our honorary team captain. She wanted to be a team captain on her bucket list. We didn't know that at the time, but we had plans to make her honorary team captain on that day, and we gave her the number 1 jersey. So if you see the DBC players up front in personnel, you'll see a gold ribbon with the number 1 that says Lauren Strongheim, which represents the strength that Lauren brought to her last days. And she was an inspiration for that team and for future teams. I always make a point of talking to the team about Lauren and about the inspiration, about the courage she faced, and that maybe some of the little problems that other people have or you have as a player or student, maybe not such a big deal after perspective. Anyway, I'm really appreciative that you've come tonight. There are many chances to win. We have drawings after the third quarter. You have up to the third quarter to buy extra chances to win some of our drawing items. And again, all of that money for the drawing also goes to ACS. So we're really trying to do a really nice fundraiser for ACS. We're very appreciative of St. Mary's coaches and players who are participating with us again this year, and I would imagine probably in the future as well. I would like to turn it over to Mr. John McCall.
Well, I'm going to make this very quick. I thank you very much for coming out tonight. It's great to have St. Mary's here and to have my college, Iowa Valley College, also here. I think it's fantastic. Terry thank you so much for coming, and thank both teams.
Thank you also to our referees who have always been a nice part of the event too, and they've been interested in making sure that they're here for the ceremony and just not for the start of the game. So thank you, gentlemen.
Welcome, Lacrosse fans, to Pleasant Hill, California at Vikings Stadium as we tune into Viking Lacrosse as they take on St. Mary's College out of Moraga, California. And we just want to point out first, before we get this matchup started, that tonight's game is dedicated to Lauren McCullough. Lauren McCullough was a former DVC swimmer, and each year the club lacrosse team here at DVC has had a tradition for the last 5 years, actually, to host an annual American Cancer Society benefit game. And They have always been dedicated to the former DVC swimmer Lauren McCullough, who was recently featured in a documentary called The Not Dying Girl. And she inspired many people with her blog that followed the same name. And all of tonight's proceeds for the game will benefit the annual American Cancer Society. And we just want to dedicate this game tonight to the memory of Lauren McCullough.
Yeah, and we got a great matchup as well. DVC is coming off a hot weekend as they swept the Davis tournament, and now they're here ready to take on St. Mary's College.
As we go into the first face-off, Lawrence Johnson having a very dominating year on the face-off crew, and he will almost come away with it as DVC almost comes away with the possession as they scrap down on DVC's side of the field. And St. Mary's College will come up first with the first possession. As St. Mary's College tries to establish their first attack on the evening. We just want to point out that tonight is a preseason matchup for St. Mary's College, as they will not have a regular season matchup until February 2nd of the 2020 year. As a shot is ripped off by number 3, Jeff Galloway, a junior for St. Mary's College. And on the first shot attempt of the night, it is good, as St. Mary's College will go up 1-0 against the Vikings.
Early shot, just got to take a deep breath if you're the Vikings. Get things going on this big night here.
And a very fast-paced matchup started off right off the first face-off, as DVC almost got away with the first possession, but let it go right on their side of the field, and St. Mary's took advantage of that possession and scored on their first shot attempt. As Lawrence Johnson will come out successful on the second face-off of the evening. And over the course of this season, DVC has been very patient with their attack, as we've seen them be able to burn down the shot clock and wear down their opponent with efficient shots on goal instead of a fast-paced type offense. As we get it back out to number 2, Mateo Navarro, who puts a move under the defender, and there's a shot that's a little bit off to the left side of the cage.
Yeah, but the Vikings with the hustle still able to keep possession.
And Jason Madden with another number on tonight. He's wearing number 34 instead of his original number 2, and he takes a shot on goal, which is successful for the Vikings, which ties up this matchup with around 13 minutes to go in the first period.
Quick swing, quick shot. And the Vikings come out here and tie the game.
Number 3 coming up. We're still in the first stanza.
I think it really comes down to the momentum, though. Whenever Lawrence Johnson wins that face-off over here, it seems like the Vikings get in their groove and they're able to set up their offense. As methodical as it is, they are extremely successful when they get the first opportunity.
Yeah, they seem to really swing with the momentum with Lawrence Johnson if he wins the face-off, and we're going to see if he could come out successful on the third one, and he does. And we're going to see if they can get it across midfield, as number 14, Deshaun Burr, takes it across midfield, and he tries to hit number 7, Paul Newpower, and a little bit mishandling, and it seems like St. Mary's College is going to come up with the possession, but they're still on their side of the field.
Yeah, just a little slightly sloppy turnover there, and the Vikings are needing to get back on defense.
And that's number 33, Trev Bonanno. Excuse me on the pronunciation. But he slinged it all the way to the other side of the field on DVC's side, and seeming to get a very pleasant attack is number 15, Chad Mellon. And coming up with that shot attempt is number 13, Tyler Ramirez, who's about 5 yards off of the goal, but a dominating number 22, Alex Bilek, who's had a very dominant year being a goal saver and goal keep for the Vikings.
And physical play almost forces a turnover, but unfortunately for the Vikings, the flag flies in.
Yeah, what seemed to be very similar to what would be called in football a horse collar tackle seemed to be the penalty call down there against DVC.
And that's a 1 minute, so the Vikings are going to have to play with the man down. So, let's see what the Vikings defense is going to look like here as St. Mary's prepares for the man advantage. And the Vikings here on a shorthanded opportunity, pushing their way downfield. Let's see if they can just kill some of that time.
And as the possession gets to number 34, Jason Madden, they get across midfield, and he tries to use his speed to get around the cage. But a good double team here.
Forces him to cough the ball up. And that's just what's going to happen. It doesn't matter how athletic you are. If you are really placed in that double team for that long, it's just a matter of time before you choke it up. And now Vikings playing some stern defense here in the full court pressure, or the full field pressure rather.
As number 25, Michael Nucci almost coughs it up and gives it to number 20, Yonatan Akbai, as they get across midfield to the DVC side.
And the Vikings are able to keep possession here. Oh, but unfortunately there's an illegal procedure if you're a Vikings fan here. And that will go against the Vikings.
Ball goes back to St. Mary's.
St. Mary's possession as number 15, Chad Mellon, takes it out. And some single isolation by number 15, Chad Mellon, as his attacksmen go to the opposite side of the field and try to open up some space. But some good defense shown there by number 33, Ben Platchy, out of Oak Ridge. And they will fight for the possession, and it's going to go to DVC as they win the possession on the race there.
Vikings on the O.
There you go. Some strong defense from the Vikings. They were able to go out here and almost force a turnover. Unfortunately, they were not able to go out there and handle the ball as they turned the ball over this time around. Oh, my goodness.
And St. Mary's College seeming to have the possession battle, have won the possession battle, on the time tonight.
And the Vikings steal it right back. This is not a game that we typically see with this Vikings team. Typically, both teams are very good at handling the ball, but this time around, it's quite the frenzy on the field.
Yeah, a lot of mishandlings of the possession here as number 7, Paul Newpower, takes it up on the bottom side of your screen here.
And I think both teams are just being very aggressive when it's coming to defense and attacking the ball handler here. You love to see it.
As number 30, Ian Moran, scrambling for the possession on that one.
And there's the score is 1-1 with 8:50 left in the first quarter play. No timeouts have been used yet.
As almost a shot attempt gets off by number 7, Paul Newpower, but is deflected by number 21, Austin Parlay.
And the Vikings find a way to steal it back. This team is coming out scrappy.
As the Vikings cannot seem to get handle of the possession. seeming to have bacon grease on the lacrosse ball tonight.
And another aired pass goes wide. And this one looks like it'll go the way of St. Mary's on the hustle. Oh, no. Vikings are still able to keep possession.
As strongman number 30, Ian Moran, takes it in and gives it off to number 18, Ryan Dixon. And Dixon tries to make some space with some good defense by number 5, Cole Aritzen, but there's going to be a shot attempt, and it's going to be successful for the Vikings. And as Mr. John Brown says, number 18, Ryan Dixon, good on the shot attempt for the Vikings as they go up 2-1 with 7 minutes and 46 seconds to go in the first period.
And you know, anytime Ryan Dixon has the ball in his stick, he's able to go in there, thread the needle with the absolute rocket that he has with his 2 arms there. And perfect there. The shot found the net, and the Vikings take a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, very efficient. Number 18, Ryan Dixon, a taxman for the Vikings. Him and his brother, number 23, Zach Dixon, the 1-2 punch for the Vikings. And number 44, Lawrence Johnson, coming off successful at the face-off, runs coast to coast. And he has a shot attempt, which is good, which sets apart the Vikings by 2 points, putting them up 3-1 with 7 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the first period. Only about 6 seconds ran off that clock right there on that possession.
And man, that's almost the equivalent of getting the ball and getting a pick 6 on the first snap of the game, right? Unfortunately, on this field, we saw that quite a few times last night. But this time around, it goes well for the Vikings.
Yep, a little bit more on the sunny side for the lacrosse team tonight as we look optimistically for the rest of the football season, as we hope that they get another win for the rest of the season. But tough going last night, but we wish the best for the Vikings football team.
And a penalty on the Vikings will give the ball over to St. Mary's. So St. Mary's is going to have the ball first, and we'll see what they can do to try to set up their offense. And another errored pass. Hustle allows the Vikings actually to get the ball.
And that's going to be taken out by number 6, Marshall Kay, who tosses it in. And they get across midfield as number 7, Paul Newpower, gets some open space. And we might see a shot attempt here, but he's going to move around the cage. And setting a screen is number 11, Jake Pimentel, a little bit smaller in stature, but not afraid to set the screen and get his attacksman open for the Vikings. And we see point man number 23, Zach Dixon, observing the field, seeing where to attack in this efficient Vikings offense.
Oh.
And getting into the seam is number 34, Jason Madden, with a different number tonight, looking a little bit more like Shaquille O'Neal.
He got into the lane, he swung it hard, and that's a power move as I've ever seen it.
As the Vikings go up 4-1 with 6 minutes and 40 seconds to go, with the goal from number 34, Jason Madden, from about 12 yards out from the goal. As we fix our digital scoreboard, Lawrence Johnson almost coming out successful with the face-off, but seemed to not fully handle the possession. Just dropped it as St. Mary's College gets across midfield and off to the far side of the field. And getting it around to the behind the cage, number 15, Chad Mellon, trying to find some open space right there in front of the goal, and that's going to be number 36, Nathaniel Withoff.
With some physical play from the Vikings, they pressed it on defense and they forced another turnover.
And a common theme here, seeming to get to the possessions to number 7, Paul Newpower, getting back around the goal, trying to get a pass attempt, off to number 11, Jake Pimentel.
And Alex Reid there almost got the interception with his stick, as the defender was able to use almost all of the length of his extra long stick to possibly pick that one off.
As Newpower eventually finds the pass to number 11, Jake Pimentel, And the Vikings seeming to get back on track with their offensive scheme as number 2, Mateo Navarro, gets to the inside of the St. Mary's College defense, and unsuccessful as he gets it off to New Power, who also tried to get in from about 2 yards out from the goal. And that's going to get off to the opposite side of the field. And St. Mary's College is going to come up successful with the possession as number 7, Dylan Jennings, comes up with the ball, as St. Mary's proceeds in their attack on DVC side of the field.
And a great shift by the goalie there. He read the eyes perfectly, and he was able to get in front of that shot.
Yeah, like a brick wall. Number 22, Alex Bialek, a very dominant year this year for the Vikings as they come off with the possession with the shot attempt off by number 15, Chad Mellon of St. Mary's College. And the Vikings get the possession, and they get across midfield as number 10, Devin Shaw, gets the pass off to Jake Pimentel, and they get it around all the way to New Power. And number 34, Jason Madden, up to the point.
And this is what you need to see the Vikings offense do. They just need to take a second, find their spots, find their lane, and just really get that secure ball handling.
Yeah, and they seem to be showing a little bit more urgency on this possession, as it would be nice to go up 5-1 right now with a little bit underneath 4 minutes to go. But St. Mary's College comes up with the possession. And if you're just tuning in, you're tuned into Vikings Lacrosse on YouTube on the DVC Sports Network. We're a little bit underneath 4 minutes to go as the Vikings lead St. Mary's College 4-1. As St. Mary's College tries to get some momentum on a possession, they have not scored in over five minutes.
Yeah, they got the first shot attempt and the first goal of the game, but since then, DVC has really taken the momentum in this one.
As a common theme tonight, number 15, Chad Mellon, with the possession, which seems to have St. Mary's College revolving around him. But they're going to have a shot attempt, which was shot off by number 28, Dom Chili, who gets the shot attempt off from about 5 yards out and gets it past the brick wall of number 22, Alex Bialek. And St. Mary's College narrows the lead down to 2 points, as the score is the Diablo Valley College Vikings 4 and St. Mary's College 2, with 2 minutes and 46 seconds to go in the first period.
And if I recall correctly, Lawrence Johnson was the one who actually lost that initial faceoff. So every single time the Vikings have won the faceoff, they've had an opportunity and they've scored a goal. And then when it goes the other way around, the first faceoff, in that most recent one, it seems to go the way of St. Mary's.
Yeah, the Vikings are really feeling the power off of the faceoffs that Lawrence Johnson wins. The momentum really swings their side, and I would have to agree with you, Max, that they definitely feel some more momentum when Lawrence Johnson wins the faceoffs, but St. Mary's College is going to come up successful with this possession as the whistle blows. And there's going to be a timeout called from St. Mary's College, and we're going to take a quick break here from Viking Stadium. You're tuned into Viking Lacrosse on the DVC Sports Network from Pleasant Hill, California. You're tuned in Welcome back, Lacrosse fans, to Pleasant Hill, California, as we tune back into Vikings Lacrosse. We're on the DVC Sports Network on YouTube, as St. Mary's College is up with the possession right now, and the score is 4-2 with 2 minutes and 18 seconds, as the Vikings still lead in the first period.
Well, like you said earlier, the ball must be greased up or something, because both teams are having a difficult time holding onto the possession.
And finally getting back to lacrosse play, taking in is main man for St. Mary's College, number 15, Chad Mellon.
Oh, that was a beautiful play design right over there. Mellon coming around the backside, almost using the cage as his own screen. The shot just went a little over the top.
Yeah, beautiful execution there from the St. Mary's College attacksman, but unfortunately not getting the shot attempt off successfully. But a shot attempt was made by number 15, Chad Mellon, who's been a common theme for the St. Mary's College attack.
And the Vikings are able to steal it away on the possession. Oh,
and
shot.
Another common theme on the night for the Vikings is some bacon grease and some loose ball handling.
I mean, this is the most physical game we've seen on this turf this season. Both teams are absolutely going out there and laying the lumber, really trying to have that physical edge.
As the possession is taken across midfield onto the St. Mary's College side by number 34, Jason Madden, who has a goal on the night.
.36 seconds left in this first quarter of play. And the Vikings cough it up. The ball's lost on the field as everybody's diving at it now.
And trying to get a shot off with the last seconds that they have left in the first period. And DVC's going to come up with the possession.
Talk about that, from the seat of his pants, the St. Mary's defender, August, was still fighting for possession.
As we get down to about 10 seconds to go in the first period, and they get a shot off, and it is successful by number 34, Jason Madden.
Talk about a buzzer beater, 8.4 seconds left. Madden was able to go in there, and I mean, he's just shown that absolute killer shot from the outside tonight.
Yeah, different number, different man. He's coming out with guns blazing tonight as 8 seconds is left to go as the Vikings go up 5-2 in the first period.
Now let's see if Lawrence Johnson for the Vikings is able to win this faceoff and close out the first period.
They're going to try and get a shot attempt off with the last remaining seconds that they have to go. And a long shot here from about 57 yards out, but it is saved by number 22, Alex Bialek. As we wrap up the first period here in Viking Stadium, we're going to take a quick break. As we're here with our broadcast team, myself, Logan Nones, and Max Agress. It is a beautiful night here in Pleasant Hill, California, watching some Vikings lacrosse. And
the Vikings take a 5-2 lead after one period of play.
And we'll take a quick break as you're tuned into the DVC Sports Network on YouTube. As we tune back into Viking Lacrosse here in Pleasant Hill, California from Vikings Stadium, DVC comes out with the first possession of the second period. A very physical matchup shown tonight. DVC leads the St. Mary's College Gaels 5-2 in this second period so far. And we've seen some very physical play up to this point, and a very fast-paced matchup as number 23, Zach Dixon, is off at the top of the point, trying to find some space. And there's a shot attempt that goes off the post from about 15 yards out. That shot attempt was off by number 23, Zach Dixon, but unfortunately could not get into the goal as St. Mary's gets across midfield.
Man, I never understand how the ball has such a small surface area and the post has such a small surface area, but somehow they find a way to hit the post. Well, that one was all net.
Goal is good from number 0. 5-3 our score.
As there was a swish goal who let it rip from number 0. We do not have a name, unfortunately, for that player for St. Mary's College, but he is successful in the shot attempt as he narrows this deficit to 5-3 as the Vikings still lead St. Mary's College with 13 minutes and 47 seconds to go in the second period. And Lawrence Johnson coming out with the win on the faceoff. Gets it quickly to number 11, Jake Pimentel.
DVC on the O.
And slowing down the pace is number 18, Ryan Dixon, who gets it back out to Pimentel. And a strong attack here by number 2, Mateo Navarro, who took a shot attempt from about 11 yards out from the right side of the cage, but unfortunately went off to the left side and missed on the shot attempt. The possession will remain DVC's as number 11, Jake Pimentel, takes it in, and he's right behind the cage trying to get an inside pass. And creating some space for himself was number 7, Paul Newpower, who got that pass back out to Pimentel, and he swung it off to number 18, Ryan Dixon, who had a shot attempt that was a little bit off to the left side.
And that was just a terrific job from the St. Mary's goalie. He was able to stick with the play the whole entire way through, read the eyes of the DVC attacksman, and come up with 3 individual stops. But this time around, it's not the case. The Vikings were able to thread the needle perfectly in front of the net and smash it in for the goal.
Yeah, letting it rip was number 19, Cody Malin, from about 6 yards out. And we just talked about the impressive stops that number 33, Trev Bonanno, had on that possession, but unfortunately did not get the stop on that one as number 19, Cody Malin, makes the score 6-3 with 12 minutes and 46 seconds to go in the second period.
And the Vikings take a commanding lead, doubling the score of St. Mary's College, 6-3. And Lawrence Johnson once again is able to win the faceoff. We can't highlight this enough. He's been an absolute force to get things going for the Vikings.
As number 23, Zach Dixon, tries to create some space and gets the pass off to number 11, Jake Pimentel. And like you said, Max, the X factor for the Vikings has been definitely on the faceoff battle when Lawrence Johnson gets the momentum going when he wins on each faceoff.
And even though the Vikings don't really push the pace off too often, off that initial face-off, they like to go in there, get their offense started, get it nice and settled. It's still just the residual momentum of stealing the first possession.
As there was a shot attempt by number 23, Zach Dixon, tried to sling it in with one hand from the right side. And the same player, number 23, Zach Dixon, trying to establish some dominance, trying to get a pass onto the inside, but St. Mary's College comes out.
Gaels on the O.
Excuse me, spoke too soon, as they almost come out with the winning the possession, as they almost get across midfield, but DVC gets it back across midfield with number 27, Arturo Perez, bringing it across as they get the pass off to number 11, Jake Pimentel.
And that's the pressure of the Vikings defense showing up and getting another turnover. Creative offense by the Vikings there, as they'll see if they can line it up for another rip at the goal.
As the clock gets back going, they get it to their center man, number 23, Zach Dixon. And he gets the pass off to number 10, Devin Shaw, who gets a shot attempt off, and it bounces off from about 7 yards out from the right side. And a nice save by number 33, Trev Bonino.
And the pressure has been relentless for this Vikings defense in the second quarter of play. Anytime St. Mary's gets the ball, it seems like they're just fighting to try to keep possession of it. Now St. Mary's at the point will likely just hold it and try to just take a deep breath and get settled on offense.
And trying to create some spaces, number 15, Chad Mellon, as he gets the pass off to the opposite side of the cage to number 0, who already has a goal on the night for the Gaels. And the Gaels really seeming to press their attack around number 15, Chad Mellon, as he tries to get it off to number 0, and it deflects off the post and gets back into his hands. And number 22, Alex Bialek for the Vikings, tries to win the possession, and it's going to go back to St. Mary's.
And St. Mary's is being very creative on the entry pass, trying to get some highlight assists on the play, but unfortunately, the man that they're passing to is just not able to get possession of the ball and get a clear shot off.
Yeah, St. Mary's having a very creative attack here so far.
I mean, both teams have really shown quite a bit of creativity in terms of their offensive scheme, as another goal is scored by St. Mary's College, and the score is 64.
As number 23, Jeff Galloway, gets the shot off from about 12 yards out from the right side of the cage, which makes the score deficit the Diablo Valley College Vikings 6 and the St. Mary's College Gaels 4, with 9 minutes and 2 seconds to go in the second period. And St. Mary's will fight for the possession as they try to get across midfield. And they come out successful with the face-off battle as number 12, August Tangen, tries to find some open space to get a pass, but he's going to try to attack towards the goal, but it's going to be knocked out by number 36, Nathaniel Withoft. Excellent defense shown there by Nathan, as he knocked the stick out of a taxman, and he gets it back off to the DVC side of the field, and they retain possession.
The Vikings wanted to push the pace with the numbers even. It was 3-on-3 after the pickoff there, but instead they just decided to take a second, get some rotational players in, and set up their perfect shot right over there.
And number 34, Jason Madden, with the creative pass over the goal to number 11, Jake Pimentel, from about 6 yards out from the left side of the cage. A very creative assist there by number 34, Jason Madden. And the shot attempt was successful by number 11, Jake Pimentel, to make this game a 7-4 with 7 minutes and 57 seconds to go in the second period.
It's been quite the game for Madden as well. He scored a few goals, had some beautiful assists, played some physical, strong defense as he sets up another shot.
And I believe up to this point in the season that the Vikings have definitely stated that they could hang with any team that they play against, whether it's D1 or a junior college level. They could rise up to the occasion.
Yeah, and they've shown time and time out that they are the better team on the field, as the record states, right?
Yeah, so far the Vikings are 9-3 on the year. And St. Mary's College has not started their regular season matchups yet, as they will face DVC about 3 more times before they get to their first actual matchup.
And so this is just the first taste of what will come to be. And if every matchup is like how it's been tonight with the physical defense and the creative offenses, I mean, you love to see it.
And back up to the point with number 34, Jason Madden, who tries to put a spin move after attacking from the point and gets it back up to number 18, Ryan Dixon. And he's going to have a strong shot attempt from about 6 yards out as he lets it rip into the goal. And that separates the Vikings by 4 points as they go up 8-4 with 6 minutes and 52 seconds to go in the second period.
And anytime you hear Dixon with the ball in his hand, you know it's going to be a positive play for the Vikings. Both the Dixons on this team have just absolutely been powerhouses for the Vikings.
And if opposing teams know anything about the Vikings attacksmen, they need to definitely have a highlight on the Dixon brothers, and definitely showing a display of dominance was number 18, Ryan Dixon, right there with the shot attempt from about 6 yards out.
It's the second time that St. Mary's is able to get the possession before a face-off is brought out.
As St. Mary's comes out with the possession and trying to get some points back up on the board, as DVC's had a couple of goals back-to-back. As the St. Mary's College Gaels get an inside pass to number 0. We'll just call him player 0 tonight, as he gets the shot attempt off from about 7 yards out, which narrows this lead as soon as I said that the St. Mary's College Gaels needed a point, and that makes the score the Diablo Valley College Vikings 8 and St. Mary's College Gaels 5 with 6 minutes and 11 seconds to go in the second period.
And that was just an athletic shot by number 0. He hopped up in the air, and almost like when a shortstop makes a play throwing it out to first base, he was able to contort his body, use that torque, and found the back of the net perfectly.
Yeah, number 0, player 0, or as I would like to call him tonight,
Agent 0?
the man with no name.
The Vikings, after all that action on the field, were able to get the initial handle on the ball, but unfortunately called for an offsides goal, and now the Gaels will set up their offense.
St. Mary's on the O.
And And St. Mary's College coming out very strong with the last 2 possessions. And trying to get a couple goals back to back to try and narrow this lead down. And DVC comes out with the possession.
On a terrific pass from the goalie there, leading his man perfectly in momentum. Or perfectly in a stride, rather, as the Vikings are able to set up on offense.
And they get across midfield as number 11, Jake Pimentel, gets it off to number 18, Ryan Dixon. And we see a Dixon to Dixon exchange from number 18, Ryan Dixon, off to number 23, Zach Dixon, as they get it up to Jason Madden at the top of the point. He goes off to the far side of the field. Trying to find some space on the inside is number 34, Jason Madden, and trying to get the pass off to number 11, Jake Pimentel. But great defense there from St. Mary's College's number 2, Alex Reid. And that's going to be a shot attempt by number 2, Mateo Navarro from the Vikings, but that's going to bounce off to the left side after the shot attempt from about 6 yards out. As New Power brings it in to Pimentel, and Pimentel gets it off to Navarro again. And he has a shot attempt, which is blocked by number 33, Trev Bonanno. And St. Mary's College hustling to get across midfield, and they do. And that's number 2, Alex Reid, and he gets the shot off attempt from he gets the shot off from about 9 yards out, and he went all the way coast to coast. Number 2, Alex Reid, to narrow this lead down to 8-6, as the Vikings still lead St. Mary's College with 4 minutes and 26 seconds to go in the second period.
Yeah, and just terrific play, really pushing the pace. And you see all of his effort shown. He wore his heart on his sleeve. He was able to out-effort the whole entire Vikings team, getting inside and getting the goal. Man, the second quarter has really swung the way of St. Mary's College after initial dominance from the Vikings.
But definitely a standout hustle play by number 2, Alex Reid, going coast to coast, outrunning all the Vikings defenders, getting past and having a shot attempt from 9 yards out, which was successful, as St. Mary's College comes out with the possession, As number 7, Dylan Jennings, tries to get the pass off to the opposite side to number 15, Chad Mellon, key man for St. Mary's College, as Mellon brings it in. Trying to find a man on the inside, and unfortunately not being able to connect with number 12, August Tangent. As the man with no name, player 0, trying to get into the inside of the cage, and gets the pass off to main man number 15, Chad Mellon. And that was a shot attempt off from about 6 yards out, off to the right side.
Oh, big hit.
And a big contact play right there by number 33, Ben Platchy, on the man with no name, player 0. And DVC will come out with the possession after St. Mary's College unfortunately could not get to the inside with key man, number 15, Chad Mellon, and trying to get the pass off to number 0 as DVC is back on their side of the field. As St. Mary's College brings up the possession, and they get across midfield and get the pass off to number 11. And they fight for the possession right at the 50-yard line of the Diablo Valley College football field. And coming out successful is number 7, Paul Newpower. And we're underneath 2 minutes to go. You're tuned into the DVC Sports Network. And
there's a timeout called by the Vikings on the field.
Timeout, 1:28 remaining in the second. 8-6 is our score. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, your chance to dig in and have some snacks. Also,
as we'll take a quick break from Viking Stadium here in Pleasant Hill, California, as the Vikings lacrosse team leads the St. Mary's College Gaels 8-6 with 1 minute and 28 seconds to go in the second period. As we come back from break and we tune back into Vikings lacrosse on the DVC Sports Network. Number 2, Mateo Navarro for the Vikings, trying to get an inside pass, but is taken away by St. Mary's College. And there's a flag on the field, and the penalty might be possessed on the next possession as number 15, Chad Mellon, tries to take it around the cage. As the ball is picked up by number 22, Alex Bielek, goalkeeper for the Vikings. And it's going to be a slash call against the Vikings. And that's going to cause a man down with 48 seconds to go in the second period. A very critical possession here as St. Mary's College only trails the Vikings by 2 points as the score is 8-6 as the clock continues to run. And we're underneath 40 seconds to go. And
another shot off the post, right?
Right off the left post by number 15, Chad Mellon. But number 22, goalkeeper Alex Bielek really stretching out on that one.
20 seconds.
And getting it back to their main man again, number 15, Chad Mellon, who has a shot attempt, and he falls over as that shot attempt was made from about 9 yards out over by the 20-yard marker on the DVC football field with about 8 seconds left to go in the second period. That narrows this deficit only to 1 point, and the Vikings still lead the St. Mary's College Gaels 8-7 with 8 seconds to go in the second period.
And what an athletic shot there, diving to the ground, having to do that to avoid the last defender, and essentially getting a buzzer beater off.
And there was no doubt that on that possession that they were going to get it to number 15, Chad Mellon, as
he's been the star player for sure.
Lawrence Johnson comes out with a win on the faceoff to end the second period.
Halftime.
And we're going to go into halftime.
And this has turned into quite the game. The Vikings took a commanding lead early, but since then, St. Mary's has really found their groove in the second half of play.
Our snack bar, of course, is open, just waiting for you, ladies and gentlemen. Also, your chance to pick up some more of those tickets for the drawing that's coming up at the end of the third quarter.
As you're tuned into Vikings Lacrosse here on the DVC Sports Network, the score is 8-7 as the Diablo Valley College Vikings lead the St. Mary's College Gaels at halftime.
You're tuned into Vikings Lacrosse here on the DVC Vikings Sports Network. We're going to take a break for the halftime and be back in just about 10 minutes with the second half coverage here in Pleasant Hill, California. Stay tuned.
Diablo Valley College is your door to opportunity. In an environment where the workforce landscape has changed, more opportunity equals more success. Today, trained, educated workers are in high demand. From skilled laborers to healthcare professionals, DVC can help you get there. Diablo Valley College is one of the top career training education programs among California community colleges. Start your career path at DVC and doors will open. Diablo Valley College. Education, opportunity, success.
Welcome back, lacrosse fans, as we tune into Viking lacrosse here in Pleasant Hill, California from Viking Stadium. The score is the Diablo Valley College Vikings 8 and the St. Mary's College Gaels 7. As we get the third period going, as DVC comes out successful with the possession. As we have a confirmation on Agent Zero, player number 0, the man with no name, as number 0 is...
He actually has a name.
He actually has a name, and his name is Carter Ruiz. And thank you for identifying yourself to Mr. John Brown and getting your name up here in the press box. We appreciate you, Carter Ruiz.
Trip right over there.
As
we will go over to St. Mary's.
Yeah. And we get back to lacrosse play as St. Mary's College comes out with the possession, and they try to get across midfield with number 12, Tangan August. And very physical play shown there by number 7, Paul Newpower, and number 11, Jake Pimentel. But there's going to be a penalty flag on the field, and it's going to be a slash call.
And that should be a 1 minute, right?
Mike's a man down.
As the Vikings go man down with 13 minutes and 56 seconds to go in the third period. If you're just tuning in, you're watching Vikings lacrosse on the DVC Sports Network. And the score is 8-7. The Vikings still lead.
Quite the save right over there. That shot was point blank, but the Vikings were able to get in front of it. Terrific job by the goalie.
As they try to get it across midfield to number 18, Ryan Dixon. And off to number 7, Paul Newpower with the shot. And back-to-back point-blank goal shot attempts from each team on St. Mary's side of the field. That was a shot attempt by number 25, Michael Nucci, and got back off to the other side. And number 7, Paul Newpower with a point-blank shot. And there's going to be 2 penalty calls off to the far side of the field.
Oh, man, that's almost like when you have a safety go over to the top and just laying the lumber on a wide receiver on a crossing route in football. That was a vicious hit.
And a very competitive matchup tonight. And we've seen some hard hitting evolve throughout tonight's matchup as these penalty calls will be assessed on the next possession.
Yeah, it's quite the fun game. Physical play on both sides of the ball. You have some creative offensive shots, some terrific efforts on a bunch of different shots tonight. I mean, it's been a fun one.
And that's
3 men down.
as that's going to be 3 penalty calls against the Vikings, as number 34, Jason Madden, number 2, Mateo Navarro, and number 18, Ryan Dixon, all received penalty calls against them on that possession. And that's going to be a save by number 22, Alex Bialek, as the Vikings are 3 men down. And unfortunately not being able to handle the possession, a very common theme tonight for the Vikings.
And St. Mary's, both teams. But the Vikings are in quite the deficit right now, despite having a 1-goal lead. With 12:42 left, they have a precarious situation waiting them. And there you go. The Vikings with the physical defense is able to steal the ball away. And then they just need to play some smart lacrosse here. Hold out the ball and try to wait out the man advantage.
As number 33, Ben Plachy, gets the pass off to number 2, Mateo Navarro. And he gets it back up to main man number 23, Zach Dixon, for the Vikings, as he tries to get some movement around the DVCC in the middle of the field, but he's getting double teamed by a great display of defense from the Gaels.
And that's some athleticism right over there by Dixon, being able to sneak out of that double team, and then finally loses the ball at the end of the play, but a whistle will blow in first. And a timeout will be called by the Vikings.
Stopping the clock at 11:49 here in the third. 8-7.
And on a very key possession, DVC calls timeout, and your score is the Diablo Valley College Vikings 8 and the St. Mary's College Gaels 7, with 11 minutes and 49 seconds to go in the third period. As we tune back into Vikings lacrosse here in Vikings Stadium from Pleasant Hill, California, the Diablo Valley College Vikings lead the St. Mary's College Gaels 8-7 with 11 minutes and 48 seconds to go in the third period. On a very key possession, we've seen a very great display of defense by St. Mary's College on this possession, but they almost get an inside pass to number 7, Paul Newpower, and they fight for the possession.
The Vikings
As-
still with the 3-man disadvantage.
TBC retaining possession.
And the Vikings fighting really hard, as Max states, with 3 men down, trying to get a goal in here. As number 11, Jake Pimentel, with the shot attempt going off, the goal keeps foot.
This is just absolutely wild. The Vikings are playing 3 men down, but they're still the ones controlling the pace here. And this might be the momentum swinger. If the Vikings get a goal in this situation, who knows what will happen next.
And a strong shot attempt by number 34, Jason Madden. A handful of goals on the night for the Vikings from 12 yards out. He makes this game 9-7 with 11 minutes and 8 seconds to go in the third period.
And that's got to be deflating if you're St. Mary's right over there. You have that situation after the hard hit, playing 3 men down, and the Vikings are still able to drive it down the field, push through your pressure, and find a perfect shot on goal. Wow.
Yeah, I'd have
This
to agree
Vikings
with you, Max.
team.
That is very demoralizing as a defense to have 3 men down and them to be able to get a score against them. But hopefully that is the momentum to help propel the Vikings attacksmen to keep that lead for the rest of the game.
9-7. The Vikings still have a lead. And Lawrence Johnson trying to go coast to coast once again.
Mike still on offense.
Yeah, Lawrence Johnson, number 44, already having a goal in the night after winning a faceoff, but the Vikings attacksmen slow this pace down as number 18, Ryan Dixon, takes this possession off the DVCC and starts moving forward towards the SMC defense. And mishandled pass as the Vikings retain possession. And sneaking in the shot attempt is number 2, Mateo Navarro, from about 4 yards out from the right side of the cage. And he makes this score. The Diablo Valley College Vikings 10 and the St. Mary's College Gaels 7 with 10 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the third period.
Exactly like we just said, the Vikings have just taken all the momentum. St. Mary's made a strong push in that second quarter. But the Vikings, after going out there, stopping it and scoring a goal with a 3-man disadvantage, continue to pile on the lead. 10-7. And this is the third different time tonight that St. Mary's has been able to get the ball off of the face-off when there was an infraction on Lawrence.
As St. Mary's College gets off to the DVC side of the field.
And essentially this is a free shot here as the flag is down for the Vikings offside. So the Vikings needed to play some stout defense as a perfect shot opportunity right over there. Agent Zero, like you said, we finally have its name. He's able to rip it off around the back of the net and swing it in there.
As the penalty gets assessed on the next possession, number 0, Carter Ruiz, from about 7 yards out, which makes this game 10-8.
It's now 10-8.
The Vikings coming out with 3 men down and getting 2 goals on their possessions, and SMC battling back, making this game 10-8 with 9 minutes and 48 seconds to go in the third period.
Now a new person in there for the face-off for the Vikings. And the Vikings trying to get it as the ball flew high in the air, but St. Mary's able to get the possession.
Yeah, number 36, Nathaniel Withoff, in there for the face-off for the Vikings, switching in for number 44, Lawrence Johnson, as St. Mary's gets it off to the DVC side of the field, and that's Withoff that comes up with the possession, hustling to get across midfield with stout defense shown by number 0, Carter Ruiz. with a handful of goals on the night. And a behind-the-back pass by number 18, Ryan Dixon, off to Pimentel.
DVC with the 2-point lead. Just need to take a second, get their rotations in, and then set up their offense.
As number 23, Zach Dixon, slows down the pace for the Vikings and working his way towards the cage, and he tries to sneak in a shot attempt which hits off the back of the net.
Now St. Mary's pushing the pace
and trying to sneak it in right there and try to poke it in with the end of his stick is number 23, Zach Dixon.
St. Mary's on the offense.
As St. Mary's gets the possession. And number 3, Jeff Galloway, works his way across midfield and gets the pass off to number 4, Carter Ruiz.
And the Vikings behind the net. Play some more stout defense, fighting for the ball there, and they'll turn it over after the collision.
And almost getting the possession for DVC is number 34, Jason Madden, but running into a stout defender for the St. Mary's College Gaels as they get the possession back, and back to main man number 15. And he takes a shot attempt off from the right side of the cage, which was no good and deflected by number 22, Alex Bialek.
That one clinked off the stick there.
Possession back to the green and white.
As the Vikings are able to steal the possession away.
As Madden gets it off to Newpower, Newpower gets it off to Dixon, and Dixon looking to take a shot attempt, and he does, and it hits off the top left corner of the cage.
That one ricocheted high in the sky. Powerful shot.
Most attacksmen for the Vikings take their shot attempts from about 5 to 10 yards out, but we've not seen number 23, Zach Dixon, be afraid to take a shot attempt from 10 to 12 yards out, as he could let it rip from around that range. As a push call is called against the Gaels, and that penalty was against number 23, Zach Dixon. As Jason Madden tries to find some open space, and he takes a shot attempt from the left side of the goal, and that attempt was good from about 10 yards out, and that separates the Vikings by 3 points and makes this game 11-8 with 5 minutes and 54 seconds to go in the third period.
11-8 our score. 5:54 remaining in the third.
We have 5 minutes and 54 seconds to go in the third period, and you're tuned into Vikings Lacrosse on the DVC Sports Network. The score is 11-8 as the Vikings still lead the St. Mary's College Gaels.
Lawrence Johnson back out there, helping the Vikings win the faceoff.
And slowing down the pace is number 4, Ryan Alamagno, as he gets the pass off to number 10, Devin Shaw. The Shaw gets it off to Pimentel. And back up to Ian Moran, number 30. And using his stature, number 30, Ian Moran shoving his way into the inside, trying to get an inside pass as DVC keeps the possession on the pass attempt intended for Pimentel. Excuse me, intended for number 2, Mateo Navarro, but he gets it back out to Ian Moran. Moran yet again using his physicality to get to the inside of the St. Mary's College defense, and that's going to be a shot attempt from about 11 yards out that hits off the ground from number 23, Zach Dixon. A failed shot attempt on that one.
Oh, what a shot. Going inside, posting up the defender, hopping high in the sky, and ripping one into the net.
Here in the third. DVC advantage. Face-off time.
Man, the momentum really has gone the way of the Vikings since that big hit, the 3-man advantage that St. Mary's had, but the Vikings able to get the goal despite having that disadvantage as Lawrence Johnson steals the ball away on the face-off.
Yeah, definitely the sky is the limit for the Vikings as they know what they're capable of, for they scored 2 back-to-back goals with 3 men down. So I'm definitely feeling that they're feeling confident on these future possessions. As number 22 goalkeeper for the Vikings, Alex Bialek, gets the pass off, which rolls out of bounds on the far side of the field, and St. Mary's College will come up with the possession. As St. Mary's College gets across midfield and taking it across the far side of the field and getting the pass off is number 0, Carter Ruiz, off to number 15, Chad Mellon.
Yeah, and Mellon, anytime St. Mary's had some success on offense, he's been the man in control, or the man taking the shot off a beautiful assist.
And having a great defensive night tonight is number 36, Nathaniel Withoff, who goes coast to coast, and we might have a shot attempt here, and we do, and it bounces off. A shot attempt from about 6 yards out from the right side of the cage, as it was no good. And the score still remains. The Vikings are still up 12-8 with 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the third period. The Vikings will retain possession on the St. Mary's side of the field. And getting an inside pass to number 18, Ryan Dixon, was number 7, Paul Newpower, who got the pass right off to Dixon, who was about 2 yards out right in front of the goalkeeper, who did not get a shot attempt as St. Mary's tries to get across midfield to win the possession battle. And they do get it across midfield, but do not have full possession of the ball, as number 33, Ben Platchy, fights for the possession for the Vikings, and he gets it off to Jason Madden.
Madden triple cover there. Juking, cutting, making his way across midfield.
And St. Mary's College showing good shifts to be able to put 2 to 3 men on an attacksman. But Jason Madden being able to get a pass off to number 2, Mateo Navarro, who's behind the cage trying to find some open space. And he does, and he gets a shot off from about 5 yards out right in front of the goalkeeper. And that puts up the Vikings 13-8. There's 2 minutes and 3 seconds to go in the third period, and you're tuned into Vikings Lacrosse on the DVC Sports Network.
Heading one way, reversing the other way, sneaking around the net, swinging it, and getting a goal to put the Vikings up 13-8. Quite the shot there.
Yet another call called against number 44, Lawrence Johnson. Face-off man for the Vikings. That's the third penalty call against him during a face-off, which gives the possession to St. Mary's College. And trying to get a pass off to number 12, Tangen August, but the Vikings come out successful with the possession battle as number 4, Ryan Alamagno, brings it off to the St. Mary's side of the field, gets it across midfield, and gives DVC the possession with a little bit over 1 minute to go in the third period. And getting all the way around the cage is number 18, Ryan Dixon, who already has a goal in the night for the Vikings, and is very capable of letting it rip from about 10 to 12 yards out. And Pimentel trying to get the pass into number 7, Paul Newpower, which did not connect. And they will fight for the possession around the 20-yard marker of the DVC football field. And number 34, Jason Madden, who pump faked a shot attempt and got it off to number 18, Ryan Dixon. And the Vikings will keep possession as Pimentel gets the inside pass to Madden. And Madden will try to get a shot attempt off, but it is deflected by number 2, Alex Reid, who's had a strong night for defense for the Gaels. But DVC will have this possession with a little bit under 20 seconds to go. And they will reward St. Mary's College the possession with a little bit under 10 seconds to go in the third period. And they're going to try and get a buzzer beater shot attempt from number 0, Carter Ruiz. And time will run out in this third period. And the Vikings still lead 13-8 against the St. Mary's College Gaels as we enter into the fourth period. You're tuned into Vikings Lacrosse here on the DVC Sports Network. As we tune back into Vikings lacrosse on the DVC Sports Network, the score is 13-8 as the Vikings still lead St. Mary's College in the fourth period as we get things going from Viking Stadium here in Pleasant Hill, California. As the Vikings slow down the pace, number 27, Arturo Perez at the top of the point for the Vikings, trying to find some space side by side with number 34, Jason Madden, who has a handful of goals on the night, as St. Mary's College comes up with the steal and gets it across midfield. And trying to get an inside pass, but firmly hit by number 33, Ben Platchy.
Platchy coming in there laying the lumber. He went in there like a linebacker diving and trying to tackle a running back.
Yeah, with
love it.
Very stout stature, Ben Platchy laying the wood down right there around the 20-yard line on the DVC football field. But St. Mary's College will retain possession as they try to narrow down this lead with the remaining time left that they have in this fourth period.
Oh, so hard to pick up that ball and another physical hit. What a fun one we have on our hands.
And a big hit by number 12, Tangan August. And St. Mary's will keep this possession.
St. Mary's still in possession.
As number 13, Tyler Ramirez tries to get to the inside with the shot attempt from about 8 yards out, which is stopped by number 22, Alex Bialek. But there's going to be a penalty on the field against the Vikings.
And am I mistaken, or did he stop that ball with his hand?
Yeah, a little bit like a hockey goalie on that one. Trying to stop it with his hand was number 22, Alex Bialek, who's been a very dominant goalie this year for the Vikings.
Mike's on the offense.
As DVC gets it across midfield, and it is their possession, and they're going to try and keep their patience on this one and burn some clock.
And they've held the St. Mary's Gaels at about 8 points at 8 points rather, for quite a while now. So the defense has really come up, and they've showed up big in the second half of play.
And that's going to be an attack by number 7, Paul Newpower, who gets to the inside of the St. Mary's College defense. He was about 5 yards out from the goal, right in front of it, but did not have a shot attempt. And really finds some isolating space is number 18, Ryan Dixon, who gets the pass off to number 7, Paul Newpower. And the shot attempt hits right off the goalkeeper of St. Mary's College. But that's going to be a good shot attempt by number 27, Arturo Perez.
What a play from the Vikings. They get a wide open opportunity. Don't get that shot going after a terrific assist, but the ball bounces to Arturo Perez, and in a crowd of defenders, he's able to get up high, shoot his stick from top to bottom, and find the net.
We've got a shirt for you. That's 028.
That play was set up by number 18, Ryan Dixon, who had great isolated space off to the left side of the cage, and he found number 7, Paul Newpower, who had a shot attempt that hit off the goalkeeper's foot, and it ended up in the stick of number 27, Arturo Perez, with the point-blank shot attempt. And we're going to have a face-off win from number 44, Lawrence Johnson, who tries to sprint his way and get it all the way to the goal after the winning face-off.
Number 028535. That's 028535. We've got a lanyard. You're a winner.
Nothing like free things from a raffle.
Please come up to the American Cancer booth. We've got prizes for you. Back to action.
The Vikings will likely just try to make this slow, methodical offense go. As I speak too soon, they rip a shot, finding something on goal, but with a commanding lead right now, 13-8 with 10 minutes and 50 seconds left in this game, the Vikings can honestly just play some prevent almost.
And with the opposite attack of what we would expect, some shot attempts here from the Vikings attacksmen. This last one hitting right off the pole. As number 7, Paul Newpower, successful on the shot attempt and separates the Vikings a little bit more, giving them some cushion with this lead advantage as they go up 15-8 with 10 minutes and 13 seconds to go in the fourth period.
Just swing it from out there. And he's a sniper with that stick, finding the back of the cage.
We've got a shirt for you. Second one, second number here. 028676. 028676. We've got a shirt for you.
The dulcet tones of John Brown over the pay announcement. Sounds like Oprah, you get a shirt, everybody gets a shirt.
And that's what it seems to be like for the Vikings attacksmen at this point. You get a goal, you get a goal. Paul Newpower gets a goal on this last shot attempt, and like Mr. Brown says, that he was due multiple shot attempts on the night, and he finally gets his with around 10 minutes to go in the fourth period, setting apart the Vikings 15-8 as the St. Mary's College Gaels come across midfield. And stout defense shown there by number 34, Jason Madden, who's had an outstanding night on both sides of the field. And the pass was deflected by number 11, Jake Pimentel. That was number 2, Alex Reid, trying to get the pass off to get across midfield for the Gaels. But getting his stick in there was number 11, Jake Pimentel. And trying to lay his shoulder down is number 23, Zach Dixon, lead attacksman for the Vikings, but showing some great defense here late in this matchup.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, get your tickets ready. If your ticket is 028513, 028513, we've got a $15 target card for you.
As they get the possession back to number 15, Chad Mellon, behind the cage, who's been a key man for the St. Mary's College Gaels.
Next ticket, 028744.
And trying to condense their attack here, putting some pressure on the DVC defense, and getting inside is number 15, Chad Mellon. But really slowing the game down is number 15, Chad Mellon. And he's going to try and sneak a shot attempt in right there against number 22, Alex Bielek, but it goes off to the right side. And the shot attempt was no good, but St. Mary's College retains possession as number 14, Eric Moreo, tries to get it in there, but a shot clock violation against the Gaels, and it'll go back to the Vikings. And they get a pass attempt. That's number 34, Jason Madden, with the assist to number 18, Ryan Dixon, from about 3 yards out, making it look easy. And that's going to set apart the Vikings 16-8 with 7 minutes and 41 seconds to go in the fourth period.
Pushing the pace, you're rewarded when you have the man advantage.
Okay, check your ducats, ladies and gentlemen. Check your tickets, please. This is for a $15 Starbucks card. If your number is 02,
There's a stoppage on the field right now.
028677.
As a timeout will be called on the field, we'll take a quick break. You're tuned into Viking Lacrosse on the DVC Sports Network. The score is 16-8 as the Vikings still lead with 7 minutes and 41 seconds to go in the fourth period.
It's from Target.
As we tune back into Vikings Lacrosse as Lawrence Johnson, number 44, wins the faceoff and tries to get a shot attempt into the goal. And we've seen Lawrence Johnson being able to get down about 4 times right in front, from point blank range, right in front of the goal. And we've seen him successful on 1 attempt and unsuccessful on 3 other attempts. As the Vikings will retain possession as number 2, Mateo Navarro, with the shot attempt from about 13 yards out, and it's successful for the Vikings as he snuck that one in there, and that separates the Vikings.
Total 9 points.
Yeah, as they go up 17-8 with 7 minutes and 8 seconds to go in the fourth period.
And this game has really turned the tides. The Vikings took the initial lead after St. Mary's went up 1-0. In the second quarter of play, St. Mary's made some adjustments, were able to make it extremely competitive, getting it to a 9-8 game. But then after that 3-man disadvantage goal for the Vikings, it's just been all Vikings. The second half has just been dominated by the men in green and white.
Yeah, coming out hot after this most recent timeout, getting a goal and winning this most recent face-off and getting off to number 23, Zach Dixon. As there's a save by number 6, Kevin Atkinson, goalkeeper for the Gaels. And the Gaels have not been able to get it back onto the DVC side of the field as number 5, Cole Loritzen, slings the ball all the way across onto the DVC side, but the Vikings will get the possession. As number 40, Sam Aguilar, gets the pass off to goalkeeper Alex Bialek, who tries to make the connection with Sebastian Morales, number 28, but the Gaels come up with the possession on the DVC side of the field. And there's an inside pass to number 0, Carter Ruiz, but who is firmly hit on the interior of the Vikings defense. And trying to get across midfield, trying to make a connection is number 10, Devin Shaw, to number 33, Ben Platchy. But unsuccessful on that attempt as they try to get across midfield, and the Gaels come up with the possession. As a penalty will be thrown and assessed on the next possession. Main man number 15, Chad Mellon for the Gaels, trying to find some open space. And a great stop there by number 22, Alex Bialek. Brick wall for the Vikings.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, check your tickets again. We've got another card.
As a penalty is assessed, and there will be a man down on this next possession.
If your number is 028-585, 028-585, you've won $15.
As we get down to about 5 minutes to go in this matchup, the Diablo Valley College Vikings lead the St. Mary's College Gaels 17-8.
Winning number is 028540. 28540.
And the pace of play has really slowed down here in the fourth period underneath 5 minutes. As St. Mary's College retains possession. But as I was saying, the pace has really slowed down here due to the score differential after DVC is after they caught some momentum and were able to put some back-to-back goals together, and definitely feeling some confidence after having 3 men down in the third period and boosting their confidence up and scoring some more goals into the fourth period, and the score differential is by 9 with underneath 5 minutes to go in the fourth period. As the Vikings retain possession and get it across midfield.
What an effort play there. Saving the ball before it goes out of bounds. You love it. Despite the fact that the Vikings are up, they're still putting all of their effort and showing it off on the field.
Yeah, no time wasted. Number 11, Jake Pimentel, no matter what the score differential is, he hustled for that one and kept it the Vikings' possession as they continue to burn this clock down in the fourth period.
3:26 remaining, and the Vikings lead 17-8. And we'll see if they get another quality shot off on the net.
And that is exactly what happens from number 18, Ryan Dixon. Another goal for him on the night from about 8 yards out from the right side of the cage, and getting it in there for the Vikings as they go up by 10 points with 3 minutes and 12 seconds to go in the fourth period. And the Diablo Valley College Vikings lead the St. Mary's College Gaels 18-8.
And that was almost like a big man going inside the lane in basketball, just going up in there, showing off that sky hook, and getting another goal for the Vikings.
And we've seen in this second half the Vikings be able to penetrate into the Gaels' defense, and if they're within 10 yards of the goal, they're going to let it rip and they're going to get a shot attempt. And we've seen them pretty successful in those shot attempts that they have taken on tonight's game. Excuse me.
I want a DVC Lacrosse shirt. I know you want one. If you've got the ticket 028540, you're a winner. 028540. Got another DVC shirt. 028601. 028601.
As the clock gets back to running on the Gaels side of the field, there's a shot attempt by number 30, Ian Moran. And he gets hit hard on the play from a Gaels defender as they try to get it across to the opposite side of the field, but DVC will retain possession and continue to run this clock down. Nearing 2 minutes left to go in this fourth period.
Gentlemen, as you're watching the game, here comes some of our biggest surprises. How about a
Oh, trying to thread the needle with the behind the back pass, but just not on the same page with his teammate there.
Yeah, that was number 2, Mateo Navarro, trying to get the behind the back pass to number 18, Ryan Dixon, but unfortunately could not get the connection with around 2 minutes to go left in this fourth period.
Fandango card awaiting someone. All you need to
And we're at 2 minutes here at Viking Stadium. You're tuned into Viking Lacrosse on the DVC Sports Network. And we're live from Pleasant Hill, California.
And a terrific save there. Quite the violent shot. A lot of velocity coming off that stick. But the new goalie into this game was able to read it quite perfectly.
Yeah, not a very strong night, but a good save there by number 6, Kevin Atkinson, for the Gaels, as the Gaels get it off to their side of the field.
It's a jersey. It's a jersey. And the winning number is 028561. That's 028561. You're a winner.
1 minute left. If the Vikings can get the possession back, this will be the end of the game.
And they're going to try and scoop it out as number 23, Zach Dixon, gets the possession, and this is probably going to be the last possession of this matchup. And that's showing a little bit more urgent attack than we assumed is number 7, Paul Newpower.
And why not? The script has already been written. Why not add a few extra sentences to that? As Newpower showing off the speed and not giving up.
Yeah, no matter the time left in the game, like an old school Buddy Ryan offense, trying to get some more points on the board underneath 1 minute to go in this matchup. As the Vikings separate themselves by 11 points with only 41 seconds to go, as they are up 19-8.
And Lawrence wins another faceoff. He'll see if he can score another one off the shot. And there you go.
And trying to add on to the statistics for the night, number 44, Lawrence Johnson, winning the faceoff and going all the way to the opposite side of the field to get the goal. That was his second goal.
In that manner.
In that manner after winning a faceoff.
And just when we thought the Vikings would just hold the ball and then run out the clock, instead they say, hey, this is still a game. We still got time on the clock, and we're going to go in there and assert our dominance.
Yeah, definitely. Some of these guys that are on the junior college roster, this may be the last time that they will ever play lacrosse. So they're definitely taking advantage of the time that they have, but not being afraid to be aggressive with underneath 1 minute to go.
Coming out in the spin cycle, retaining the possession, and the Vikings with 23 seconds are going to push.
And we're around 20 seconds to go left in this fourth period as they get the pass off to number 7, Paul Newpower. And he gets it off to Dixon, and he seems like he's going to take the last shot here for the Vikings with about 4 seconds to go, and he's not going to take it.
Just dropping the ball behind the officials as the Vikings get the win.
As the time runs out, we will attempt to get a scoring recap here from Viking Stadium, but the Vikings win in a very dominant fashion.
Yeah.
Here at Viking Stadium, a very chilly night here in Pleasant Hill, California, but the Vikings come out victorious as they top the St. Mary's College Gaels 20-8. And we'll be back for a quick recap after this quick break, and you're tuned into Vikings Lacrosse on the DVC Sports Network. as we tune back into Vikings Lacrosse on the DVC Sports Network. With a quick recap, we have standout stars on the night for the Vikings. Number 18, Ryan Dixon, who had 4 goals on the night for the Vikings. And number 34, Jason Madden, who had an impressive 5 goals on the night for the Vikings, and also a very standout night on the defensive side of the field. And for the St. Mary's College Gaels, we had a handful of goals, and there was 3 goals made by number 0, Carter Ruiz, and also a goal made by number 28, Don Chili, and 2 goals made by Jeff Calloway. As we had a very competitive matchup tonight from Pleasant Hill, California at Viking Stadium. And the next time that these teams will face off against another team will actually be against each other. And that's going to be on Monday. That's going to be Monday, November 4th at 7 p.m. Live here from Pleasant Hill, California, as the St. Mary's College Gaels and the Diablo Valley College Vikings will take on each other yet again. And we'll wrap this up here from Pleasant Hill, California, as we had a very intense matchup between the two teams and a very high-scoring matchup as the Vikings were able to top the St. Mary's College Gaels 20-8. And you were tuned into Vikings Lacrosse on the DVC Sports Network. And we'd like to thank you. And from the broadcast team of Logan Onis and Max Agress, have a good night.